Uh, to begin with, hello everyone. This presentation will highlight the upcoming 2022 Research Experience for Undergraduates program. My name is Moza Sharif and I'm the Science Initiatives Coordinator under the Emirates Mars Mission. We also have Ahmed Al-Hantoubi, who is a former REU student as well. He will be introducing himself and the project that he was working on, along with his experience by the end of the session. So if you do have any questions, you can also ask them to Ahmed as well through the Q&A box. So to begin, I just want to give a very brief introduction to MBRSC. It was known as Emirates Institution for Advanced Science and Technology back in February 2006 when it first established. And on April 18th of 2015, a decree has been issued to incorporate ES in the newly established Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. So what is the vision and mission of the center as a whole? The vision is to be recognized globally as a center of excellence in the field of space science and technological innovation, whilst the mission is to enable the UAE to effectively create, use, and exploit space science technologies and applications. So how is this done? They're done through a few main sectors, such as the space operations management through the ground station and satellite mission planning, space exploration, such as having missions like the Emirates Mars mission, research, development, and innovation, which includes things like analysis reports, such as change detection, vegetation, classification, and water quality, as well as space systems development, such as DubaiSat-1, 2, KhalifaSat, and other satellites that was established as well. Moving on to highlight the Emirates Mars mission in brief as well. To begin, the UAE Space Agency and the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center signed an agreement on October 20th of 2014 to build the first Arab Mars space probe. And what are the objectives of the Emirates Mars mission is to complete Mars orbit insertion by the UAE's 50th anniversary in 2021, which was achievable, and to contribute to the development of the science and technology sector in the UAE, and to develop the UAE's scientific capabilities, and to increase the UAE's contribution to the scientific community. So this is basically what is the mission's main objectives. What will EMM do? It will explore the atmosphere of Mars globally while sampling both diurnal and seasonal timescales. So this is just a very brief introduction to this presentation, which is an introduction to MBRSC and the Emirates Mars mission. But what we want to mainly focus on is EMM outreach. So what is outreach? It's basically reaching out to the community through various platforms. And to begin with, why is reaching out to the community so important? It's basically to stimulate the students, faculty, and researchers in the UAE to engage in the space science and research fields, and to develop students' capabilities and research skills, and to provide interactive platforms and opportunities to enrich the UAE community knowledge in space science and actively involve them in the mission. So we have a variety of programs that fall under the Emirates Mars mission, such as the program that we will be highlighting in this presentation, which is the REU program. There is also the Explore Mars competition, the annual science workshop, and the research grants program. And then there are various workshops, webinars, and camps that we conduct throughout the year. So in this presentation, as I mentioned, we will be talking about the first program, the one that is highlighted with the orange rectangle on your screen, which is the REU program. So before we begin, I just wanted to remind everyone that has joined the webinar to leave any questions that you may have in the Q&A box for us to answer them in the by the end of the session. So what is the REU program and what is its purpose? The REU program is known as the Research Experience for Undergraduates program. The purpose of it is basically to stimulate the students' interest in the space science and research fields. The target for this program is Emirati undergraduates under STEM majors who are sophomores, juniors, seniors that are not graduating in the fall of 2022. So if the major that you are studying is under a STEM, it's under the STEM field, uh, then you are more than welcome to register for the REU program. So just to give you a description on what the REU program is about, the REU program is an international internship opportunity, where we'd like to call it a research opportunity, but it can also be considered as a basically international research internship opportunity, where you will be, which you will be conducting over the summer for 8 to 10 weeks, whilst being mentored by the Emirates Mars Mission Science Team or international scientists to work on space science research projects. But the exciting thing about the upcoming RU program is that now we have data through the SDC, where you will be working on EMM related projects. So the project that you will be working on will be from the data gathered by the whole probe. And by working on these kinds of projects, you will also get the chance to submit the work that you have done to international conferences as well through scientific publications. So where does the RU program take place? We have a few RU locations that can host the RU program, which is the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. So you can have mentors at the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. There is also the Laboratory for Atmospheric and Space Physics in the University of Colorado Boulder, and the Space Sciences Laboratory at the University of California in Berkeley, Northern Arizona University as well in Flagstaff, Arizona, LMD in Paris in France. And we also newly added the United Arab Emirates University in Al Ain, in the National Space Science and Technology Center last year. So it was the newly added RU partner for hosting RU students as well at their center to work on research as well. So once you are accepted to be part of the RU program, what would your expectations be basically? So I'll just go through them. In the case that you do have any questions with regards to any of those expectations, feel free to leave those in the Q&A box as well. So before we begin with the RU program, there is something called the RU Bootcamp. What this RU Bootcamp does is to basically provide you with a solid foundation in space science and research about EMM, some programming skills as well, and things like that. So basically, this is just something that will enable you to be fully prepared to begin with your RU program. So as an accepted student as part of the RU program, you will be expected to attend all days of the RU Bootcamp. The second point is to be present on all days of the RU program, unless the lab or the university is closed for an official holiday, or in the case that you fall sick, then you would be present on all days of the RU program. I do understand that there are various people who would probably, I didn't check the Q&A box yet, but maybe have asked whether it will be hosted virtually, considering that there's the whole pandemic going on. There is a chance that the RU program is hosted virtually and in person. So this platform is provided as well for the RU students. Another expectation is to provide biweekly progress reports to MBRC, highlighting the work that you have done. The biweekly progress report is a very short report that just basically states what have you been working on, what you have learned, and if you have any concerns as well, you can highlight that in the progress report. So the RU management team is able to find any way that they can resolve any concerns or any issues that you'll be facing throughout the program. Another point is to be fully invested in the task assigned and work for 40 hours per week. So wherever you're located in terms of the RU program, you would be working alongside your mentors for the duration that you have you are requested to work. On average, it's 40 hours per week, but the number of hours can be determined directly from the mentor and you as well. And another point is to utilize heavily your programming skills in your assigned tasks. So there are several tasks that where you will be using some programming in. There is no specific programming language that you would be working on. We would normally start by equipping you with learning about the Python programming language. However, various mentors might be working with a different one instead. But you would be mainly using your programming skills in the RU program. Another point is to become an integrated member of the team and actively work with mentors. I believe this is clearly stated. So basically just being an active member within your group or while working one-on-one with your mentor as well. And to prepare presentations, scientific papers, and posters as required by mentors. So sometimes you would be required to present to your mentor, to the group of students who are part of the RU program as well. Sometimes you would, usually by the end of the program, you would present the work that you have done to the Emirates Mars Mission Science team as well. So basically anything that would need some form of preparation to present your work, you would be creating that as well. And to represent your country and culture in a positive manner as well. And as I mentioned, to prepare a presentation for the EMM science team, as mentioned in the third to last point. So what are the benefits of joining the program? One is distinguished students would potentially be offered a full-time scholarship to pursue an advanced degree in a science or engineering field. And distinguished students as well could be offered the opportunity to directly join MBRC's Emirates Mars Mission Science team on a full-time basis. And some students may use the research that they have conducted in the REU program as an initial step to their senior thesis project within their home universities. Some students also prefer that they have this program be part of their internship within their home universities as well. But for those of you who would want to do that, I would encourage to speak to your advisors within the university to see if this is possible from your university. In the terms of MBRC or the Emirates Mars Mission, we have no restriction for that. So you are able to consider the RU program as an internship for your university, but this is something that you can coordinate with your advisor. But we're definitely fine with that. Also, the internship is a great prerequisite for any graduate level science or engineering program that maybe potentially you would want to apply to in the future as well. So this would be a great step to have if you're willing to pursue a graduate level advanced degree, for example, under a STEM field. What are the outcomes of the RU program? So we've talked about an introduction. We've given you the reasons why this program might be suitable for you. What are your expectations? But at the end of the program, what can you gain out of this? What are the outcomes? Other than it being a really good addition to like your own CV or anything, but there are some outcomes that I believe is important to highlight as well, such as your participation in scientific meetings. So through the work that you have conducted, any event that takes place where we would see in with regards as into the Emirates Mars Mission science team, where we would see that your RU project would be suitable to have in terms of a presentation or a poster, we would normally invite you to be a part of those kinds of events for you to present your work and get to network with other people as well. Another point is the scientific publication. So you get the chance to submit to international conferences, journals as well, to basically highlight the work that you have done and publish it somewhere and not have it only as some form of an experience for you. You get to publish it to international conferences, and MBRC does sponsor you to travel to those conferences to present your work as well, if you did submit to those conferences. Other than that is having many students that basically leave the RU program and pursue a graduate degree in physics and astronomy and in other fields like that, where this would basically give them become an eye opener for them to pursue an advanced degree, basically. Through the RU program as well, we've had various engineers who joined, but basically really liked the idea of research and space science, and they've decided to pursue an advanced degree in the sciences as well. So this was I wouldn't say it was a career changer for them. Maybe they had a decision to move forward in life having an engineering path, but there were some shifts happening through there as well. And then there's the involvement in EMM. So other than the fact that this just becomes an experience for you, you would also be equipped with the right skills and the right knowledge to be able to handle data that is coming from other space missions, including EMM as well. So this program, as I mentioned, since there is data from EMM that can be gathered for research, this is where you can have the experience and learn how to make use and basically analyze EMM data as well. So I just want to highlight some statistics of the program throughout the years that we've conducted it. So we've been running this program since 2015, and it's been ongoing since then. Throughout since 2015 until 2021, we've had a total of 40 students join the RU program. Some of you might see that there's quite of a dip in 2020, but that was when the pandemic started, and it was the upcoming RU program then. And for that, we reduced the number of students, since students were not supposed to be traveling at the time, and there was a form of a restriction in work and things like that. So it was shortened to two people during that year. Other than that, we've managed to pick up our speed in 2021, and hopefully we will try to have more students moving on with the years. Other than that, from those 40 students, we've had a total of 21 publications to international conferences and journals as well. So when it comes to trip preparation, because this is an international research internship opportunity, I believe some of you might have had the thought or a question in mind of who gets to arrange those trips, or who gets to organize my trip to, for example, if I was doing an RU, my RU program in the US, who would be the person responsible to arrange my trips? So to begin, for international RU programs such as the United States or France, students get to choose whether they would like MBRC to book their flights or self-booking. This applies for the same for accommodation. MBRC can book it for you, or it can be self-booking. In the case that it is self-booking, you will either be reimbursed with the amount paid at a certain percentage, or it would be or you would be given an allowance that exceeds an allowance of someone who has their trip booked through MBRC. Another point is that female students would be allowed to take one companion with them only. Male companions, or if a female companion, male students or female students who would want to have more than one companion, would be the responsibility of them to basically sponsor their trips. And MBRC would only be responsible to arrange one companion of a female student only. And basically acquiring a US visa for those who don't have a US visa. And basically, if you do get accepted to this program, instructions on how to get the US visa and what documentation should be presented when getting the US visa would be shared with you as well, so you are able to acquire it. I believe you've seen it now. The REU 2022 program opportunity has been announced, and registration is open up until January 15th of 2022. So you are able to register until then. And if you do have any questions, you can definitely send them through ru@mbrsc.ae. But and before we move to the last step, I just wanted to show you how you can apply to the RU program. So you would basically visit the Emirates Mars Mission.ae page on your web browser, and you would click on the Gen Hope tab at the top of the page, and you will see the research experience for undergraduates program basically tab. So you would click on that and you would get to all the details of the program. And once you scroll down, you will see a link to registration. In the case that you do have any additional questions prior to submitting your form, there is also a downloadable document known as the RU FAQs, frequently asked questions, in which you can download to your desktop and go through the questions, because you might have questions that have possibly been highlighted before by a former RU student. And we've included those for you to basically make sure that you are all set before deciding to apply for a program like this. The application submission guidelines, other than the registration form, would include you uploading 3, or I should say 4 documents for basically the review of the for the evaluators, which is your Emirates ID, your university transcript, and 2 recommendation letters. I would suggest that you have those ready first, those documents ready with you first before you apply for the program. Then it would be much easier for you to just register for the program and just upload those documents and submit them through the registration page. Just give me a second. Okay. For the last step, last part of the presentation, I mean, we have a former RU student, which is Ahmed Al-Handoubi. He has been an RU student for 2 cycles, and I'm going to leave this to him now so he can introduce himself and to give you a description on what kind of project he was working on, along with his experience as well. As I believe, since we have a lot of students joining this session, I believe it's much better for you to learn through another student who has been part of the RU program. So I'm going to leave it now to Ahmed Al-Handoubi as well to present this to you. And just as I stop sharing, I just want to remind everyone to type in any of their questions through the Q&A box if you have any. Thank you. Ahmed, you have the floor. You can go ahead.
Can you confirm that you can see my screen?
I can see it in presenter view.
So it's perfect, right? I can go ahead.
No, I would suggest that.
1 second, give me a second, sorry.
That's okay.
Is this better?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed Al-Handoubi, and I'm an aerospace engineering student from Khalifa University. As Ms. Moza already said, I participated in the RU program in 2019 and 2020, both in person and virtually, and I'm more than happy to share my experience with you guys. To start off, I would like to talk about my specific research topic, which is investigating the strength of Mars's magnetic anomalies. Mars today has no active global magnetic field. However, previous missions to the planet have detected the presence of strong magnetic anomalies. Those magnetic anomalies are illustrated in the figure shown in front of you. In my REU experience, I understood that those anomalies are a snapshot of Mars's previous magnetic status, as those rocks have recorded the magnetic field from a time when the red planet actually had a global magnetic field. Finally, I concluded that Mars's global magnetic field wasn't of exceptional strength. Instead, the rocks present in those specific regions where we detect this magnetic field, they are very strong at collecting and recording this magnetization. Next, moving on to engineering and science. I believe a lot of people applying to such program come from an engineering background, such as myself. I would like to assure you that the skills you have gained as an engineer will be used and developed in this program, as science and engineering actually go hand in hand and they are not independent to each other. To sum up the program in key tasks, I would say that it's mainly about reading and understanding the scientific topic of your project, programming codes to use the data and produce results. Then we investigate the outcomes of your code to find the scientific answers to your questions. And finally, discussing and asking your advisors for feedback and help. Yes, I benefited from the knowledge and academic skills and capabilities of the REU program. However, this experience to me was more than just work. I developed my personality and I met new friends and I visited new places. It's not, in no means, it's not a 24/7 job, but it's a perfect combination between a job and enjoying life. And as Ms. Moza said earlier, I was one of the students who actually found that I lean more towards science and research compared to engineering. And so I found this as an eye-opening experience that in the future, I might actually pursue a graduate school, my graduate school studies in science and research as opposed to engineering. Finally, I would like to conclude with a quote I heard from a previous REU student when I applied to the program. She said, "For a few seconds, you could be the only person on earth to know a certain fact. You will be discovering the unknown in this experience, and you might stumble upon a great discovery that no one else has discovered before. And having that thrilling feeling of being the only person who actually knows this is true is very exciting. And it kept me going and pushing across my 2-year experience in the REU program, and it kept me inspired. And I hope it can inspire a bunch of you to actually apply and get to experience this feeling in the REU program. Thank you for listening. I open the floor to you to ask anything, whether it's about the in-person experience or the virtual REU experience.
Thank you, Ahmed. I'm just gonna go ahead and see what questions we have in the Q&A. I'll firstly just want to remind everyone now that we basically concluded the session and we have about 30 minutes to see if anyone does have any questions. So please feel free to leave your questions in the Q&A as we go about answering them. So first, I will try to go in order, but I don't think that's kind of possible now. Yeah, that's possible. We have a question first from an anonymous attendee asking, if I am Bahraini studying in the UAE, can I register? As of now, the program is tailored to Emirati nationals, but in the case that we do see that we have some space for the for more REU students to join, you are more than welcome to basically register for it. But we usually have, it's usually restricted to Emirati nationals for now. But I would say try your luck, honestly. If you're able to get to this session, I would say try your luck. Then there might be a possibility to include you as part of the REU program as well. Okay, another question from Muna is, I'm an Emirati and who is an aviation engineering bachelor degree, and I'm also a postgraduate. Can I participate in competition? Are you referring to the REU program or the Explore Mars competition? I'm getting thrown off with the question, but I would say you can wait, hold on. If you are an aviation engineering bachelor degree, if you've graduated already, then I wouldn't say so, since this is an undergraduate internship. Basically, it's an internship for undergraduate students. Abdurrahman asks, what about fresh graduates? They can't be part of this great opportunity? And I would want to say you are, but I don't want to give you mixed signals. But if you are willing to register to the RU program if you are not an Emirati or not residing in the UAE, or if you've just recently graduated, then you are more than welcome to register for the program. However, priorities will be given to Emirati nationals. So this is just to clear the air with everyone, since whilst promoting this program, this is who we mainly would want to have as part of the RU program, but you are definitely more than welcome to join. And if there is space to include everyone, we would definitely include them. Okay, I've answered this question about being a fresh graduate. Ali asks, how many students are you expecting to take this year? I would like to say 9. We're still trying to explore the number of mentors that we plan to have as part of the RU program, the upcoming RU program. However, with each year, we try to have more students as every cycle moves. However, I think 9, maybe 10 students. Another question is, wow, I can see there's so many questions. If you have a question for Ahmed as well, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box about his experience. Mahra asks, is there a required GPA? On average, commonly people always say 2.5 GPA is doable, but in my opinion, even if your GPA is lower, but you have this passion to join the RU program, I would say go for it, because I understand that there is a requirement for a GPA, but I don't think it's like a benchmark for people that want to join this program. It's all about your passion, your experience, what you want to learn, how passionate you are about this field. It's all about the energy you bring to this, not necessarily your GPA. Sarah asks, can we choose the country we want to work in? You get the chance to basically say which country you would prefer to work in. And it's not necessarily about the country, because there's like 3 partners in the US, and then there's 2 places in the UAE that you can do the RU program in, and then there's one place in France. So for that, you are able to state to the RU management team which place you prefer to basically have your RU program conducted in, and we will try our best to accommodate your preference. However, it might not be guaranteed, but we will try our best to basically accommodate that for you. Another anonymous question is, if I will graduate on fall 2022, can I register? Since you will already be graduating already by at the time that the RU program would have just started basically, or just ended at that time. So you might have your path already set for you by that time. However, as I mentioned, if you have the willingness to register for a program and to try your luck, I would say go for it. I would definitely say go for it, because there are times where we've included people who are graduates as well, because they've showed that there is a passion for them to join such a program. Sarah asked, how many seats are open for this? As I mentioned, the number of students who are willing to accept for the program is limited from the number of mentors we have as part of the program. However, I would say approximately 9 or 10. Anonymous question, how about the students with Emirati moms? You are more than welcome to register for the program as well. Okay, I'm just going to try. I'm gonna try to go through the questions pretty fast because I can see more people asking, and the time is we're moving. So yeah, I'm gonna try to answer the questions as fast as I can. Sarah asks, "Can I register if I will graduate?" I would say yes. I think Sarah, you asked this question before, or someone else did. But you can register as well. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, it's mainly for uh, sophomores, juniors, and seniors who are not graduating by fall 2022. Uh, but you are more than welcome to register. In the case that we do have space to include more people, we will definitely try to include you as well. A question about GPA. As mentioned, GPA isn't that much of a focus for us. It's more about the passion you bring to this. If I'm graduating in spring 2022, can I apply? Yes, you can apply to the RU program. Okay, another question from Jawahar. She asked, I have been accepted in the first phase to do the interview last year, but they didn't choose me. How can I know why or depending on what? Thank you. Jawahar, thank you so much for asking this question. I was hoping someone would bring this up. If the number of students that tend to join or register for the RU program is very high in comparison to the number of students that we're willing to accept per year. As I mentioned, the number of students we accept is not restricted from us. It's because of the number of mentors we have. So let's say if we have approximately, let's say we have 10 mentors available for REU 2022, then as a minimum, we would be able to accept 10 students only. And let's just say if like one of those mentors was able to we want to have 2 students instead, then we would be able to have like 11 students. So it's dependent on that. So if you have, let's say, a number of approximately 200 people registering for the REU program, we have to shorten this down to 10 people only. So it's not necessarily about your background or your experience or anything of that, because it did not fit into the program, but because we have to get basically the best of the best students. So if you did not if you were not accepted last year, you are definitely more than welcome to register for the upcoming cycle, and maybe you do get the chance to be accepted. We've had a lot of cases of students who were not accepted for the first time that they've registered, but were accepted for the second or third time that they've registered. So I would strongly recommend that you go for it. Another question from Sarah is directed to you, Ahmed, which is, what are the skills that enabled you to be accepted into the program?
I see there's a lot of concern about the GPA status. I don't think it plays a big role when you're coming to be accepted in the REU program. You must be genuinely interested in research, space science. You might not have any experience in it before. Like when I applied, I didn't have any experience in research, but you must be genuinely excited, have an interest in the program. So that's what I recommend to the people who are applying. You must be like, read a bit about space, expedite your interest in the field itself upon applying. Ms. Moza, I would like to answer a question that's put in the chat box. Al-Anud says, what was the challenges you faced through that experience? The main challenge I faced, which is in the initial 2019 batch of the REU program, I was presented with scientific research papers, and it was my first time reading scientific research papers, and I did not understand what is meant by some of the terms, what was going on in those papers. But don't worry about that, because the mentors are very helpful, and they understand that we come from a background that's not very scientific and not very familiar with those topics. So they explain it step by step for us in the initial weeks, and they guide us through it. And then you start to get the hang of it and go more independently, doing your own work and then getting feedback from them. So that's the main challenge, but the mentors are always helpful and they will help you through any challenges you face through the program.
Thank you, Ahmed, for answering those two questions. Those were very important points that you've highlighted. Let's see. I believe Ahmed answered this as well. Do you have basically a higher chance to get accepted if you're an honors student, or does basically with a high GPA? Not necessarily, no. An anonymous question is, are we going to have to have an interview? Basically, yes. If you do pass the first stage of the if you're shortlisted, then yes, you would be invited to be part of an interview where we would be just asking you some various questions to ensure that you are the right person for the RU program. Salama asks, will there be an instructor who will help me in the research, or will I do it alone? Yes, you will be provided with a mentor. Sometimes this mentor also has a postdoc as well with them that would assist you in the project that you're working on. Other than that, we're not the only ones that host the RU program. Some of those universities and labs do host the RU program there, so there might be other students as well from different countries that join the RU program. So you wouldn't be doing it alone, definitely not alone. Anonymous question is the website down? I'm trying to access it. It shouldn't be down, but if it is, I would say try to access it at a later stage. Maybe they're just fixing something up. Okay, give me a second. Muna asks, after I participate, is there a chance to work in the future with MBRSC? Yes, there is a chance. If the work that you have done and your performance in the program is pretty high and recognizable, then you do have a chance. You do have it. You definitely have a chance. I believe you, Ahmed, answered this question by Al-Anud. Another question from Al-Anud is there any other opportunity for the fresh graduates and engineers to be part of the research? The research as part of the RU program? Not really. Maybe there is a possibility of us trying to tweak the program around to see how we can include fresh graduates or those who have graduated as well to be part of the program, maybe in the future. But definitely if there are other programs, because we do see an interest spike from fresh graduates and those who are maybe not sophomores, juniors, or seniors who are under STEM fields as well, maybe not under space sciences field or things like that, who are still interested in something like the REU program. Possibly in the future there would be some form of a program that would be able to accommodate those people as well, because we would try not to leave anyone out, not only through the REU program but through other programs as well that we have as part of our center. Okay, and another anonymous question is, if I am a freshman, can I register? As I mentioned, if even if we've promoted this as a program for sophomores, juniors, and seniors who are not graduating by fall 2022, you are more than welcome to register. So even if you're a freshman, or if you've recently graduated, or if you are if you are not Emirati as well, if you do have this passion to join the RU program, you are more than welcome to do so. You can just simply register for it. And I think we've answered those questions for you. I'm just going to wait for a minute or two to see if anyone else has any questions. In the meantime, I'm just going to check the Emirates Mars mission website if it's actually working or not. We have a question from Mahra. Are we able to rewatch today's session? Yes, because the session is being recorded and was recorded from the beginning and until it's still being recorded. You will be able to rewatch today's session, but we will, as soon as we do upload this session, we will be sure to share with you a link. If you do not receive a link, feel free to send an email to REU@mbrc.ae to receive the link from us as well. I'm just gonna wait for another minute or two to see if anyone else has any final questions. Yes, by the way, I just checked. I believe the website is down at the moment, but I would suggest that you try to re-access it at a later stage. It's probably an issue with a technical issue. Okay, we have about 12 minutes till the end of the session, so please feel free to ask any final questions that you might have. Okay, if there are no questions, I just want to say thank you for everyone that joined the session. If you would want to know more about the RU program, you can send us an email through the RU inbox, but I would strongly suggest that you visit the RU page on the Emirates Mars Mission website. If it's down now, just try to access it at a later stage. So thank you, everyone. I just want to hand this over to Ahmed to see if he has any final words.
Thank you guys for attending the session. If I was just to send a message to everyone out there, I would say go for it. Just apply for the program. Come do the interview. You might find yourself actually enjoying it more than you expected. Share it with your friends, anyone you think has a chance, has any interest in this opportunity. Please share it because it's a very eye-opening and it's a life-changing experience for myself, and I hope it can do the same for many more of you.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. So this is just to conclude. I just want to say once again, thank you, everyone. And if you do have any last final questions that you left in the chat box or in the Q&A box that we did not answer, please feel free to send us those questions directly at reu@mbrc.ae, and we'll be sure to respond to you at the earliest. Thank you very much, everyone.